Thank you.
Subscribing.
Card Kaizoku.
This video is sponsored by Nengarden. Nengarden is having a summer kickoff sale with prices slashed site-wide, and for a limited time get a free playmat tube with every Sun God playmat you purchase, while supplies last. Also check out their Legends and Shadows collection. Use code CARDKaizoku for 8% off your order. This video is brought to you by Adakai TCG. Shop the latest in premium holographic textured custom One Piece cards. Designed for collectors, crafted to stand out. Use code CARDKaizoku for 15% off your next order. This video is sponsored by Gungam.gg. See Western OP11 lists and Eastern OP12 lists on Gungam.gg. Updated daily. Be the first to see decks for new leaders as they emerge. With over 1,000 deck lists per set, Gungam.gg has all the top strategies as soon as they drop. This video is sponsored by Card Market, Europe's largest online marketplace for trading card games. Alright, one full week has passed since the release of OP11 with the starter decks on the sim. So let's take a look at the stats, where the meta stands at this point. You can get all this information from my website, cardkaizoku.com. I have a bunch of features here in case you guys weren't aware, right? I have a deck builder as well. It works on mobile, it works on desktop. I have an event calendar that shows you upcoming events, when to register for them, or when like products release. Match history, you can look up matches you played, leader rankings and stuff. We're going to go over this tab in particular, this whole section here. A Cardi Back Fight app as well, if you wanted to get like a random deck to play against your friend. It's kind of like Ultimate Bravery from League. And then the market dashboard, this is something that's always been on my channel, but yeah, now you get access to it too via my website. So yeah, let's just jump right into things. Let's take a look at the leader rankings for this week. So this is the overall stats. This is all games on the sim. And it looks like Bonnie is the top deck for this week, followed by Green Purple Luffy, followed by Blue Purple Luffy, followed by Purple Black, followed by Purple Luffy. But yeah, a new feature that I just added now is that I have a way to tell if it's a private game or not. So look at private stats. So while I'm not affiliated with the rank system, meaning that I don't have access to their data, I don't know which games are ranked or not. I feel like this is a close approximation, right? All the ranked games happen via a private game. Sure, there's going to be some additional stuff included in that, people who randomly just play in private games against each other, but I feel like a majority of these private games are ranked games. So for all intents and purposes, I feel like this is ranked data, you know, plus or minus a couple of stragglers here. So looking at this data, and I do think it's quite accurate. If I look at the number one deck here, Green Purple Luffy, I know a lot of pro players, a lot of top level players are playing this deck, so I'm not surprised that it is number one. Number two, we have Green Bonnie, followed by Blue Purple Luffy, followed by Purple Luffy. So that part's not different from the overall sim stats, right? This top four here. Where it differs is that we don't see Purple Black Luffy up here. So fifth is Bello Betty, followed by Buggy, followed by Purple Black here. So he's seventh, followed by Red Green Smoker, then Zoro, then Green Yellow Law. That makes up your top 10. We can even go up to 20, just because I feel nice, you know. Okay, we have Shanks up at 11th. Now the interesting thing is Shanks has a 2.7% play rate in private games. Meanwhile, like overall, it's a lot higher, right? Yeah, it's a 3.36% play rate for overall sim games. So in terms of like ranked, or like approximation of ranked play, people aren't too hot on Shanks, but Shanks is like a noob stomper if you're playing like pubs on the sim, it looks like. Then Blackbeard at 12th, Yamato at 13th, Nami at 14th, and then Lucci at 15th, Kobe at 16th, Eno at 17th, Reijo at 18th, Purple Katakuri at 19th, and then Red Blue Marco rounds out the top 20 here. Now if you look at the most played leaders, most played leader is Blue Purple Luffy, followed by Purple Black, followed by Buggy, Blackbeard, Green Purple, Red Yellow, Green Yellow Law, Green Yellow Yamato, Red Yellow Bello Betty, Bonnie, and then Purple Luffy. That makes up your top 10 most played in private games for this week. So let's take a look at the leader stats. Let's look at the top 10 and then like sample deck list for them. So we have Green Purple Luffy. If you look at his private stats for the last week, it looks like he has a better win rate going second. And here are his good and weak matchups. So good into Buggy, that's good. People were expecting Buggy to like take over the meta, but it looks like the considerably best deck in format, Green Purple Luffy, checks it. Right, it's either Green Purple Luffy or Blue Purple Luffy at this point, and it looks like the West is preferring Green Purple Luffy, it looks like, because everyone's pretty much learned how to play against Blue Purple Luffy. Right, the East's problem with it was that it was like it just came to the scene, people didn't really know how to tech against it, and then their meta had to slowly adapt to it. Well, we got all that adaptation and learning on our end, and Green Purple Luffy seems to be far and above like the most consistent and least like easy to counter deck. Because blue purple Luffy, you play an aggro deck, it like folds really easily to it. I feel like green purple Luffy is more consistent in his matchups, and we can see that in the matchup spread here, right? So yeah, good into Blackbeard, good into Kobe. Does have some of the weaknesses that blue purple Luffy does into like Bella Betty and then Zoro too, but not as heavily, I don't think. The Bella Betty for sure, but the Zoro seems a little bit more even. It's almost 50. But yeah, also it does have a slight unfavorable matchup into the blue purple Luffy itself. His middle lane matchups are interesting, right? It's against Enel, Purple Luffy, and Green Yellow Law, right? Whether you're going first or second really affects those matchups in particular, and Nami too. And then we'll take a look at their starting hand. So these are the cards you want to keep in your starting hands. It's the Searcher Nami, it's the Searcher Event, it's the Searcher Zoro. So it's just fine Sanji and Pudding, right? And we can look at particular matchups between two leaders in particular. I'm gonna keep saying particular until it feels like a weird word in your head. So how does green purple Luffy deal with Bella Betty? You may be asking. We can take a look at that. So according to this algorithm I wrote to identify potential tech cards, in that in the games where the green purple Luffy wins more often than they do, what cards like stand out? It looks like that Demonic 9 Aura card stands out here. I'm guessing it's a way to deal with their board, right? You can kill their Karasus before they get too much value out of it, or their Ivankovs. They also run the Chopper Blocker to just stop a hit, and then Jet Gatling to reduce the number of bricks in your hand because it turns it into a 3k counter. But such a discrepancy in win rate, right? 39 to 61. It's probably not too much you can do to mitigate this weak matchup here. So we can take a look at one that's more like even. I think that's where the tech cards matter the most, right? So against like, I don't know, Green Yellow Law, for instance. Looks like Radio Knife. Yeah, Radio Knife makes perfect sense. It pops their Cavendishes. It pops like every 5-drop that they play, right? And then Electrical Luna keeps all those characters rested as well. And also this Zoro. Zoro out to like tap their like Bedges early on, just to kill stuff on board so they don't have 5 cost or more on board to use their leader ability with. So yeah, as we suspected, the tech cards make a lot more sense for the matchups that are almost 50-50, where like one potential card change makes the difference in the matchup. So yeah, I am quite proud of this algorithm. Good job, me. And then we said we're going to look at deck lists. So let's see what deck lists look like for green purple Luffy. So this is the best deck list decided by my algorithm as well. This takes into account the number of games versus the number of pilots who play it versus the win rate. So yeah, this one, just due to the fact that it has like almost double the games of the second best, and then almost double the people playing it, it picked it as the better deck than the 50.7% win rate deck. We can look in more detail. So people are starting to run one of this starter deck 26 Luffy and then one of the Rush Luffy. Only one? Okay. Well, yeah, it seems to be working for these people. How expensive is this deck? I'm just curious. So I have a show prices button in my deck builder as well. This is my deck builder, by the way, that the link takes you here. This deck is 280, and yeah, it's just because it doesn't run the Mr. 2s, it's quite cheap. Whoa, these are $90? Yeah. So the link here, if you click it, it takes you to TCG Player. It is. When did this card get so expensive? It like spiked. So I don't want this to turn into a market video, but suddenly I was really surprised by that. And if you guys were gonna buy these cards anyway, if you did click the shopping cart links on my deck builder or the TCG Player Mass Entry button, which copies the entire deck to your clipboard, it goes through my affiliate link. So yeah, it supports me. If you guys want to buy these cards anyway, this is a really easy way to support me. Holy moly. Okay, I'm gonna see if I have any extra copies to sell. And then we'll take a look at the second deck list too, just because this is the #1 deck, right? So this one's the more traditional 3 Rush Luffy build. I wonder how much it costs. Holy crap, $274 just for these 3 cards. Well, okie dokie then. Is all of EB02 expensive now? I'll have to check later, but that is insane. Alright, let's move on to the second leader, Bonnie. So Bonnie's going first win rate seems to be better than her going second. I wonder if that's due to Kid and Killer now being able to provide you with that Dawn for your leader ability, so you don't have to like play off curve. It must be, right? Because you can get to 5 play Cavendish. Oh, Cavendish gives you Dawn for leader anyway, so you can play Carrot and still have Dawn up for your leader ability because of Kid and Killer. But yeah, Kid and Killer isn't like a mandatory keep. It's the Cavendish and the Searcher Bonnie that are the top picks. And also the Tashigi and Rosinante to protect your 5-drop and your 8-drop Kid. That's good to know. And yeah, good matchup in the Purple Black Luffy. Holy crap, 73%. It completely decimates that deck, but yeah, dies to Lucci. Historically, that's always been true. Bonnie has always had trouble against Lucci, but also loses to Shanks and Blue Purple Luffy as well. And then the middling matchups, does pretty decently into green purple actually, so it's got that going for it. Yeah, if the meta shifts in the point where like if Buggy eradicates Lucci from meta, and if green purple Luffy is like the BDIF. Bonnie has a better time in the meta. So let's take a look at deck list for Bonnie. Okay, so this is the number 1 deck list here. According to my algorithm, it's not too different from the deck that I run either. They're running 2 of the Shanks. I cut the 2 Shanks and I just run the 4 Kids and 4 Law and Beppo instead. But yeah, pretty standard. How much does this deck cost? 276. What's the most expensive? Of course, it's Cavendish. Cavendish costs quite a pretty penny. And we'll look at the number 2 deck lists because they look kind of familiar. Yeah, this is exactly my deck list from my testing video. So I have to assume that I accidentally stumbled upon like one of the better Bonnie lists just from my initial building. Maybe I have better deck building sense than I thought. I remember reading people saying that like my list didn't have enough blockers or some criticism, but it's literally like the second best performing list. 55.8% win rate, 29 people playing it. So I don't know, maybe kudos to me. The only thing I would have changed is like maybe remove the Hawkins for like the Apu 2k counters, but it's not the biggest difference in the world. You could still just run the Hawkins fine. I don't think it really matters too greatly. I just wanted a way to like potentially rest your opponent's Dawn with the Apus, and also the Hawkins end of your turn effect kind of has anti-synergy with this 5-cost smoker, because if you use the smoker's ability, this doesn't activate. Yeah, moving on to the third most winningest deck, not winningest, weighted win rate deck, Blue Purple Luffy. So if you look at the private games only, it has a 56% win rate going first, but it has a 47% win rate going second. So this is different from the Bonnie and the Green Purple Luffy in that they won whether you're going first or second on average. Blue Purple Luffy actually does have a really bad matchup going second. And yeah, has a incredibly weak matchup into Bello Betty. Actually beats Zoro now. What happened? This used to not be the case. Hold on, I'm curious. What tech did Blue Purple Luffy's figure out for this? What is this event? Oh, it's an event searcher. Is it because of this Nami? What does this Nami do? Oh, okay, so this Nami bounces a 3-drop, which can kind of like slow down a Zoro. Hey, I'm glad I found that out. Okay. Yeah, so that's one adaptation you can make against the Zoro. Also the Onamis. That's something that is not like a guaranteed run in this deck. But yeah, this is the stats. Let's take a look at deck list for this guy. So the number 1 deck list with 1,393 games and 171 pilots is this one. How much does it cost? I bet it's really expensive. Yep, it's nearly $500. Holy moly, because of Mr. 2 and the Sanjis as well. Oh, not too bad. It's $100 for 4. But yeah, this one isn't too spicy in tech. They're running 3 God Threats. This is like a new adaptation, I think. Right? People used to run this as a 1 or 2 up, and now it's going up to 3 even, and then 2 Red Rocks and 2 Gravity Blades. So it deals with your opponent's board a lot after establishing your own board, I guess. And the 1 of Pudding. So that's Blue Purple Luffy. Let's take a look at Purple Luffy. So Purple Luffy has a really strong going first win rate of 63.53% because you can play 8-cost Katakuri on your 3rd turn, but has a 44.8% win rate going second. So it really does matter going first with this guy. This makes it incredibly risky to play in my opinion, but does really well into Kobe, Nami, and Yamato, and Buggy if you're going first, but not if you're going second. Right, I think this is like doubly compounded by the fact that Buggy's going first curve is good too. So if you take away Buggy's good curve and then you have the better curve for yourself, yeah, this completely makes sense why it's 74 to 44. Oh my god, completely dies to Shanks going second. But going first, you're like almost even. This is a really polarizing deck. It comes down to your dice rolls, it looks like. I wonder if there's a way to build this deck where it doesn't matter if you're going first or second. But at the moment, it seems to really matter if you're going first. And yet they keep this Katakuri in hand guaranteed and 1 ramp effect with the Mr. 2. So this makes complete sense. For the going first strategy, going second, I guess you just kind of wing it. Let's take a look at some deck lists. Oh, interesting. This one runs Poly. We'll take a look at 2 deck lists just because this is my favorite leader. So this is the number 1 deck list. Yeah, the change from the east was that we don't run the 9-cost big moms anymore. But I think in Japan they still did up until even OP12. But yeah, we completely don't run it anymore. In favor of what else? What do we run it in favor of? Oh, they run Ragnaroku, right? So they run removal. I guess 9-mom was removal too, but this is more like bigger costed, right? It can kill your opponent's 8-cost Katakuri. So I guess that's how it works, right? You play yours first, going first, right? 8 Dawn, and then you deny your opponent of ever developing one by playing Ragnarok while yours is still alive. And if they Ragnarok your Katakuri, that means they can't play their own Katakuri. So you just play a second one on the turn after. I can see how that's how the mirror devolves into, right? This deck is probably also expensive, $426 just because of this guy. Let's take a look at the Poly list. I'm really interested about that. Because I think Poly kind of makes sense too. Oh, they're also running the slow beam sword. Yeah, because Poly, this was the way that prior to the starter decks that Purple Luffy's got to 10 Dawn. Because on their 7 Dawn turn, instead of playing like a Sanji or Luffy Taro, Poly was the best play because he pops a 4-drop and he ramps you to 8, so you go to 10 the turn after. The only problem is that he's a brick, but not that we have Gungam Giant, right? We didn't have Gungam Giant back then. This kind of turns Polys into like just fodder for Gungam Giant. So this one's pretty interesting. I might have to try this out too. But this deck is more expensive actually by like $4. Okay, we'll take a look at Bello Betty next. This is like the most dirt cheap deck. So it's filter for private. Has a 51% win rate going first, 54 going second. Really good into green yellow law. He's just too fragile. Also blue purple Luffy. Also green purple Luffy. Yeah, just any 4 life leader or lower, they're really good against. You can see all these are dual color. The decks that Bello Betty has trouble against are the monocolor leaders and Yamato. This is interesting. I guess because Yamato can banish, right, with the Izo and then the Namis now. It can deny Bello Betty of triggers and cards in hand to discard for leader ability. But it completely dies to Buggy. This makes sense. There's one single card in this deck that counters Bello Betty's entire deck. Also loses to Zoro and Bonnie as well. Yeah, and Kobe makes sense too. Kobe can attack your characters before they can attack back. So we'll take a look at some Bello Betty deck lists here. Okay, the most winningest one with 210 pilots and 1,200 games is this list. This is pretty standard. I don't think everyone's running anything different from this, right? You have your 4 Zeuses, and then you have all the other good Revolutionary Army type cards, and then the stage to help you fix your hand. And yeah, look, incredibly cheap deck, $35, and it's like a top 5 deck. So if you want a cheap deck to get started, I would suggest this one. Then we'll look at Buggy number 6. That's so crazy. So it has a going first win rate of 55.9, going second of 45. Similar to Purple Luffy in that regard. So I guess Buggy is really Luffy's foil. Completely shuts down Lucci. Look at that, 80%. You just completely shut down that guy. He can't do anything against you. Also nullifies the weenie decks, right? Bello Betty and Zoro cannot deal with you if you have that Shoe Buggy. Get into Shanks too. This is kind of funny lore-wise because they always saw each other as rivals. Well, Buggy saw Shanks as a rival, but I don't think Shanks ever really had Buggy on his radar. But yeah, it looks like Buggy beats Shanks, so he did have to worry about him after all. Goes positive into Blue Purple Luffy going first, but loses going second. And then his weakest matchups are Green Yellow Law, Bonnie, and then Green Purple Luffy. So it looks like he has trouble against green in general. Yeah, starting hands, you want that Meecroc. Meecroc is your bread and butter. So is this blocker Mihawk. Let's take a look at the best deck list for this. See if it's any close to the one that I run. But this is the list, and it looks exactly like the one in my deck breakdown. Huh. But yeah, I guess it's bound to happen. There's only so many good cross-skill type cards, so everyone's just running all the good ones. We're bound to have the same ratios, right? 4 Pelops and then 3 Shoe Buggy, 7 Crocodiles. So yeah, not too surprised. How expensive is this deck? Okay, $61. Yeah. So if you're not running like a purple deck, it seems like it's cheap to compete. The starter deck cards aren't too expensive. Oh, this Shoe Buggy is insanely cheap. But yeah, Meecroc are, what's 18 divided by 4? Like 420 each? 425? Can I do math? Yeah, that checks out. Yeah, purple black Luffy. So going first 53, going second 45. Does really well into Yamato, Nami, Law, and kind of 50-50 into Buggy, depending if you're going first or second. But has a lot of bad matchups. He's just really played a lot. That's why his weighted win rate is so high, right? 13.27% play rate. So it dies to Bonnie, Reiju, Enel if you're going first, oddly enough. And then Green Purple and Shanks and Lucci. That's not good. Wait, aren't you supposed to be good in the Lucci because like your characters get +1 cost? This is really surprising. I guess because all the Laboons and Kuzans, it's immaterial to have +1 cost because they're running a lot more cost reduction than they used to. Well, let's take a look at some deck lists. Okay, this is the best performing one. Oh, they're including 2 Sanjis back in. Okay. I think I saw some people run the 8 cost Katakuri. That might be the second list. Yeah, we'll take a look at that after. So yeah, this one just runs 4 Rush Luffy, 4 Rum Luffy, 2 of the choppers for tech, and a Gamma Knife to be spicy. I don't know, I feel like 2 Sanjis never make sense to me. It's either run 4 or run 0, in my opinion. Because 2 is something you can't rely on, I feel, and then you'll just get it when you don't need it in a lot of games. I don't know, that's just my personal philosophy. And then the second most has a lower win rate, but has more pilots and more games played. And yeah, we do see them get to Akos Katakuri because it kind of curves perfectly into it, right? On your 3 Dawn turn, you play Zoro, ramp to 4. You go to 6, you play Rum Luffy, you stay at 6, and then you play Katakuri afterwards, and then you're free to use a bunch of Dawn minus effects, because Katakuri always gives you 1 Dawn back. So me personally, I think I would run something like this, but the stats don't seem to show that this one is doing better than the other. For now, it's only been a week, so the price of this deck is $358. A little pricey. Right, anything purple, it just seems to have a premium at the moment. Okay, red green smoker up next. So 56 going first, 51 going second. Completely poops on Blackbeard, Law, Buggy if you're going first. If you're taking away his good curve, good into green purple Luffy. We saw this evidently in practice when, what was it, the EB02 like finals in Japan was in that format, and the red green smoker completely demolished the green purple Luffy there. Does die to Enel though, and Zoro, just because we're a 4-life leader. Lucci too, I guess Tashigi and Rosinantes can only protect you so much. And then Shanks also beats you. Slight unfavorable matchup into blue purple Luffy. But yeah, can potentially beat purple Luffy if you're going first. Opposite for Reiju. Interesting. I do know they run a lot of the sword cards now. So that's an adaptation, a change from OP10 to now. So let's take a look at the deck list. So this one has 49.5, but more games played. We'll take a look at 2 of these in that case. So this one, yeah, they're running the Kujaku, and then this helps you find like a lot of Navy cards, like X-Drake, new 2K counter, Rosinante is a Navy, Smoker's a Navy, Tashigi's Navy. So yeah, it finds a lot more things than you would have expected in red. And also just becomes 1K buff to anything on board afterwards, so it's never like a wasted card, right? It's really, really efficient. They're running 3 of the Honesty Impact, so they don't run the what's that card? Gum Mole Pistol. This is what they used to run to pop a 7-drop. Now they just pop was this 10 drop this way. I guess this helps in the blue purple Luffy matchup, and it kills the purple Katakuris, right? Mulgun cannot, unless they combo it with like a Monet. Let's see what the other list runs. This one looks more aggro. Yeah, this is an aggressive red green smoker list. There's no 8-cost kid. It puts all the damage, all the extra Dawn into damage. So yeah, the Rush Luffy's at 4 of. This one does run the Mole Pistols because it's a little cheaper, so you can fit it into your turn a lot easier. But yeah, it still also runs the Kujaku to find a lot of your key pieces, and that makes complete sense to me. Runs 8 Straw Hat Searchers instead of Navy Searchers. Oh, it still runs the Navy Searchers with Virgo. Well, runs like, what is this, 16 Searchers in the deck? Really interesting deck list. I might have to give this a try because it's doing pretty well. Oh yeah, the third most winningest deck list here also does not run 8-cost kit, so it's not a Fortress deck anymore. It looks like we might see this rise more, or it might just die off. It's just like a first week anomaly. But because historically this has been like a Fortress deck, but yeah, we'll see how it develops. I'm gonna save this tab for later. Okay, so 9th is Zoro, so we'll take a look at Zoro, and then we'll cap it off with the green yellow Law. So Zoro has a 55% win rate going first, 54 going second. Completely demolishes Blackbeard and green yellow Law and Smoker and Bello Betty and Shanks and Yamato, but completely dies to Enel and Buggy. These 2 make complete sense. Lucci's 4-drop Lucci completely kills your board. Bonnie also completely completes something completely against you, completed. As soon as you lose to Reiju, so this one's really interesting. And blue purple Luffy, which I thought was the opposite this whole time. But it could just be like first week jitters too. Zoro only has a 1.68% play rate too, so it's a lot lower than I was expecting. But I'm gonna have to assume that's just due to the variation in the meta from what Japan had. Because in Japan it was like blue purple Luffy and then Bello Betty Zoro. So it looks like it's different for us. Let's take a look at some deck lists. I'm pretty sure it's just a standard animal package. Oh, interesting. Okay, so this one I saw right away had this Frankie as tech. This Frankie, if your opponent activates an event, it buffs your whole board for 2k. So I'm guessing this is like anti-Gum Gum Giant tech. 2 blocker choppers, 2 of the O1 choppers to recycle, 3 Mulguns to get rid of blockers and stuff, I guess. 3 Hidden Killers, that's pretty high. No Makino, that's really interesting. Even though they're running 7 Searchers here. How much is this deck? 122, not bad. Quite affordable. And then lastly, we have Green Yellow Law. If you want to see anything past the top 10, you're going to have to check out my website, subscribe to my Patreon as a Kaizoku tier. Do take note of that. I saw a lot of people like subscribing to the lower tiers, thinking that it would give you access. It's the Kaizoku tier specifically. So Green Yellow Law for private games has below 50% win rate for both, right? 49 going first, 48 going second. Has a good matchup into Buggy and Kobe and blue purple Luffy, but it dies to aggro, it looks like. Zoro and Bellbetty, and dice to control with Smoker and Bonnie. So what are you good against? Like just randomly Buggy and Kobe and Blue Purple Luffy, right? Because if you're dying to aggro and you're dying to control and you're dying to removal with Blackbeard and Lucci, like what doesn't kill you? But a 5.1% play rate. Really popular deck for having such a weak matchup into like every archetype. It might just be like a pilot diff. So let's take a look at some deck lists here. So the best one, 1,400 games, 170 pirates. I should call it pirates instead of pilots. That wasn't an accent joke. Or maybe that's just my own accent that's leaking out. But I think pirates would be a cool term for that. Okay, let's take a look at this deck list then. Nothing spicy. A lot of people explained to me why people didn't run 4 of the Law or 4 of the ACOS kids for fortressing. And it was due to the fact that you're able to search these pretty easily. Because you're playing your Luffy's out so often, and then your Kid and Killer's out so often. 3 freeze Bonnies, and then 2 of the untapped Laws. 2 Zeus 2, and only 1 room. But yeah, I don't know. I think I might have to practice this deck more to get a good feel for his power level. But I feel like, so the win rate percentages that we saw, this feels pretty true to me. That's my experience playing this deck. But I do think the people who like put more hours into this deck are rewarded for it. By being able to pull off like tricksy like lines of play. But how expensive is a deck? It's $280 for a deck that kind of flounders on average. I'm pretty sure in the right hands it doesn't flounder, but on average it's an expensive deck that you can't just pick up and play. So it's not a deck for me, I don't think. But yeah, that's our analysis of the meta. We can take a look at the matchup table real quick to show an overview of everything. So for private games, here's the whole table. If you want to see it on a day-to-day basis, yeah, just access it on my website. Otherwise, you get this snapshot as of today. That's all you're gonna get. So pause it here if you want to peruse. You can look at the mirror match analysis as well. So this is looking at decks that are the riskiest to play the mirror in. So it takes into account the variance between going first versus going second in the mirror versus the play rate. So if it's a really popular deck and it has a really like bad matchup going second, that would give it a high mirror risk score. So let's actually sort by mirror risk, which I should do by default, my bad. Okay, so the riskiest deck to play is Blue Purple Luffy. So in a Blue Purple Luffy mirror, the guy going first has a 57% win rate. That's a 15% variance, and then they make up 10% of the meta. So you're gonna face this mirror quite often. Purple, black after that, purple Luffy after that, and green purple after that. So all the Luffy decks in the mirrors come down to the coin flip, it looks like, right? Because 15% variance is statistically significant. Purple Luffy has a 31% variance. this one, if you get second, just scoop and go home. Oh my god, Pudding has a 53% variance. Is it the Pudding that goes first gets to play their 10 drop first? Because you ramp twice? You need to ramp 3 times. I don't know. That's crazy though. So that's our meta snapshot for the first full week of OP11 on the sim. Let me know what you guys think, anything surprising. I'm pretty sure this will change as the meta evolves too and decks are figured out. I don't think any of these deck lists are solidified just yet. But yeah, again, if you want access to these stats, you can see it on my website, Kaizoku.com. I built out the website myself. I scrape all the data myself. I do all the analytics myself. This is a one-man crew type of thing. Well, besides the sim is all Batsu and the people who helped develop the sim. So I wouldn't have any of this without them. So shout outs to the sim for existing. But yeah, everything on my side, I built out on my own. That's the level of effort that I'm putting into my videos. You won't find this on any other channel, I don't think. So yeah, hope it's appreciated. And I guess I'll catch you guys next time. Bye.
Card Kaizoku.